Hello, welcome back to BSLIVE. In this episode, I wanted to show you some kind of bit of process, basically allowing you to create something like this. So what is this abstract image? If you look closely, this is actually just a bunch of Suzanne head, all in different kind of position and rotation, but they're kind of packed together. So it's kind of like abstract looking, but it's kind of interesting as well. So how did I create this? I'm actually using this Python module by Qingnan Zhou. It's something that you can download from GitHub. It's called Mosaic. It will create a random mosaic from a directory of images, and my images that I supplied, the images I supplied, is looking something like this. I made like around 500 of this image. It's kind of abstract, you know. I'm just using like Eevee to render this out. It's actually just a bunch of Suzanne head from in different orientations on a transparent background. So I haven't tested many on different images. Only like I've tried twice, but so far it's been pretty interesting. So I'll show it to you how I created this. So I'll be using Suzanne head, but you can use anything. It's a fun experiment. So save as Mosaic demo. So basically, we just need a Suzanne head, and then need to be orientated and randomized. Here's what I found. Randomized at different orientations. So I will be using animation nodes for that. It's very simple and easy to do. So animation nodes, and I'll turn off auto execution. I'll just enable, turn off always, have the frame change to drive the head randomly. So I will be using object transform output and pick Suzanne head, and I will be using random Euler. You can use random Euler or also wiggle Euler, but it's totally up to you. And you can perhaps also randomize the scale, but for now, maybe just leave it like this. And create a frame and then let it drive the seed. So that's the head randomly rotated. But you can see it's kind of rotated only slightly, not probably you want to do more, something like that. So maybe 6.4 or 7 even. Now the head is totally randomly rotated in all kind of directions. Okay, so that's pretty good. We can improve this look, maybe use matcap and something fancy. Turn on cavity, turn on shadow if you like, or just leave it as it is. You can have Suzanne like in higher resolution like that, maybe slightly more interesting. Smooth it, shade smooth. Yeah, it's gonna give you a little bit more interesting results. So let's see how it looks. Create a camera. We want to take snapshot of Suzanne. So viewport, align active camera to view, and we just want to render maybe 800 or 400 or 500. Okay, 500. And we want to frame this head, lock the camera so we can move, zoom in, and maybe just render it like that. So maybe zoom closer. As long as it doesn't clip the head, then it should be fine. Oops, I went outside of the camera. Click here, go back to the camera. Yeah, that seems pretty good. It's a bit abstract, right? It's a bit interesting. You can try perspective or orthographic. It's totally up to you. And in this case, I can go further, like make the focal length 24 millimeter. so it's more more extreme. Zoom in a little bit more. Yep, it's kind of nice. Okay. All right, so let's try render this out, but there's also, before I forgot, I want to make this transparent. I don't know if I need to do that or not, but the difference is that if we have it with transparent, it looks like that. Without the transparency, it's rendering the background. So turn off everything, turn on transparency, and we're gonna render this out. I'm using EV render, by the way. So it's EV render and it's really fast. Yeah, we don't need anything else. Just render this out. File, save again. Render from, I just want to have a snapshot, so I will render from here. Viewport render animations. So it's gonna render 250 frames by default because that's Blender default timeline. You can render more, 500 or 1000. That should be fine. We are done with the rendering. We have 250 frames of Suzanne head from random angle. Create new folder, call it Suzanne random, and I'm just gonna copy it into the Python module folder. So originally when I created this, I'm using this line of command, generate mosaic image. This is the final output, image width and height, and then this is the path for the image directory, and this is going to be the output. So let's run that very quickly. So basically you can run it either using Python generate mosaic, or you use this, and then you need to type in some commands. So image width 2500. From the documentations, they said if your image is mostly 500 pixel, then multiply that by 4 times. So in my case, I'll try 1600 pixel by pixel, and then this is the image directory name. In our case, it's called Suzanne random, Suzanne, and the output's going to be output. Hit enter, and then hopefully, yeah, it start packing, and it's doing it really quickly. So before you know it, it's already done. Oops. So that's the image. It seems pretty packed. Maybe you can kind of squeeze it a little bit more. I don't know. Funny how I get a lot of these smaller heads. So this is the first result, right? I'm curious if we can pack it a little bit more. So let's try actually larger size, 2500 by 2500. In fact, we can actually try to render more image in a bit. Okay, now it's done. It's actually getting smaller. Interesting. So before, after. So I kind of want kind of larger size head, and then not too much small Suzanne head. So interesting. Maybe I can, so maybe we can make a little bit of changes here. File, save. So I randomized the seed and I want to use a different color. Yep. And what else can we change? Yeah, we try with the green color, Suzanne. Maybe change this setting a little bit more. So, and then save, and then we want to render this again. How many frame? Let's go a little bit higher there, and then 300 frames. View, render, image, animations. So it's doing it really, really fast. I wonder if I can I wonder if I should actually crop it tighter. I mean, like, if we can kind of trim the transparent part, that's gonna be maybe, I'll try using Python for that later stage. For now, we're just gonna use what we have. So this one is 300 frame of Suzanne head. Let's call this Suzanne green. I'm gonna put it in that folder. Let's do this again. 2500. This time we can go maybe a little bit larger. 3000 by 3000. And this is Suzanne green. It's doing its job. 100 images back so far. This time it's working a bit harder. You can see, you can actually see it's kind of updating. 200 image pack so far. I'm wondering if there is a way to make them kind of more packed together, and then the size doesn't. I think if it's making it smaller, it's kind of cheating. So 300 images already packed. Okay, that's the final result. Yeah, I think the algorithm can be improved. But so this is what we have. 1, 2, 3. This one is more packed. This one has too many empty space, just like this guy. So the first one that we use actually have smaller number. My feeling is that I need to go larger. So we render 800. So maybe we go like 4800. Actually, just go 4000 by 4000. Let's see the result. In the meantime, we can try rendering something that's a little bit more abstract, if you like. Yeah, look at this. That should look pretty nice. And I will try it this time. What if I don't have the transparency? What's gonna happen? So where's the transparency setting? Here, turn off transparency. And if I go a little bit, I zoom in a bit closer, but try not to cut the head. This seems to be good. Okay, it's cutting. That's kind of nice. It's pretty abstract looking. Object, view, render animations. So it's doing it again. Check out this result. I see it's actually getting smaller. Maybe we need to pack it with smaller smaller image dimensions. Let's see. So we actually did render this out. 800 by 800, okay. Interesting. So 300 images. Suzanne, zebra. So let's go a little bit lower here, 2000 by 2000. And we're gonna use Suzanne zebra. Go in there. Processing. Okay, now it's kind of doing a little bit more thinking somehow. 100 images packed so far. If you look carefully, it seems to now you can see the bounding box. So now I'm kind of this means that maybe if we crop the image better, like more tightly, we can have all this head kind of more packed together. This one takes a bit longer. Interesting. This means that maybe this guys is all packed based on the square, but I'm not quite sure. So here you can see there's like, you can see the actual square where you kind of want them to be kind of touching each other. In here is actually kind of doing that. So we actually indeed needs to have the alpha. So my feeling is that let's render this out one more time with the transparency. Image viewport render animation. It's gonna take just a few seconds until it's done, and we're gonna use this one for the packing. Yep, done. 300 frames. Temp. Suzanne zebra X. So we have Suzanne zebra and Suzanne zebra X. How is the result so far? It's kind of still doing okay. This one takes longer. I'm pretty surprised. Maybe it's having a hard time actually. Let me try doing the same thing. Suzanne zebra X. The size is 1200 by 1200, and the output is have to be a different name. No such file. Okay, mistype. Packing stopped since not enough empty space is left. That's actually interesting. So it's yeah, like I said, it's having trouble doing that one. But this one, look, It's actually looking so much better. Yeah. So the one with transparency is indeed working much better if we have smaller value. Not like if we make it too big, then it's not gonna pack together so nicely. Let's look at the result of the other one. This one's still working. Ah, yeah, see, this one without transparency, it's just gonna be using the square, and the square is not definitely not overlapping. This is interesting as well. But our other one still working, but it's more closely tied. I kind of like this one a bit better. So let's take a screenshot. Just for the thumbnail, but the result should be, hopefully, I'm hoping some spaces over here will be filled also with Suzanne head. But now you have, you know how to do this now. Yeah, it's basically, you just need to go to this GitHub page. Oh, I don't have internet again. But you just download the GitHub module, and then you can just run it using Python. It's very easy to do. So yeah, hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think. Of course, you're not limited to just Suzanne head. You can use anything, any render, and it's gonna work, and it's gonna try to pack everything into a single mosaic image. And maybe you can use this for other thing, maybe as a texture for Suzanne, maybe. What's gonna happen if you do that? Actually, let's do that. So turn off the fancy matcap. File save, and then have this Suzanne selected, material, image texture, open, mosaic, and select our image. Now look at it. Look at that. I mean, it has some spaces. The transparency is being used quite nicely over here, but I think it's quite something. It's quite beautiful. It's pretty simple, but really it's almost kind of more like an art. Okay, I like it. This looks. If you use the cycles, or if you actually render this out with Eevee, it's gonna look like that. You cannot see the transparency unless you turn on alpha blending. Yeah, sometimes you get this weird culling. This actually looks much better. The transparency is being respected. So I don't know why. Maybe it's in the shader. But for now, I like this. I'm gonna save this. But yeah, hopefully give this a try. Let me know if you have any question. This one's still working. Yeah, I'll wait until it's finished and show you the final result on my Twitter. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.